Medieval London Bridge was in use for over 600 years and was the sole river crossing between London and Southwark until 1729. Not only did it act as a bridge, but also as a residency and a marketplace. Houses up to 4 stories high were constructed atop the bridge. Today, we will be discussing Old London Bridge and its evolution throughout history. In 1170, King Henry II of England commissioned a stone bridge to be constructed in London, spanning the River Thames. There was to be a chapel in the middle, dedicated to the honor of St. Thomas of Canterbury, which would become the site of pilgrimage for many years to come. After 33 years of construction, in 1209, during the reign of King John I, the bridge was completed. To recuperate the immense cost of building the bridge, taxes were imposed on wool, and plots on the bridge were sold for houses and shops. The bridge was 926 feet long, 60 feet high, and around 40 feet wide. It was supported by 19 arches upon starlings, and there were large gatehouses at each end. Additionally, there was a drawbridge between the 6th and 7th pier towards the south end to allow for taller ships to pass. Soon, houses and shops encompassed the length of the bridge, as was common for medieval bridges, rendering the footpath more of a dark tunnel. The bridge became a popular commercial setting, and was bustling with traffic. Pedestrians and wagons made their way across the bridge in droves, while peddlers and merchants lined the sides of the street. The North End Gate was known as Traders' Gate, as it was common practice for the heads of traders to be displayed atop the gate on pikes. Famous heads displayed on the gate include William Wallace, Sir Thomas More, and John Fisher. As many as 30 heads could be seen on the gate at one time, and this tradition continued until the 1700s. In 1212, a fire broke out in London, and people gathered on the bridge to witness it, but the fire quickly spread to both sides of the bridge, trapping the spectators inside, resulting in many deaths. Soon, though, another disaster would afflict the bridge. Due to the bridge slowing the flow of water, in 1281, the winter ice was so thick that it caused 5 arches to collapse. The costs of maintaining the bridge began to mount, which caused Edward I to transfer the charter for maintaining the bridge to the City of London in 1284. Many houses and other structures came and went. Deteriorating houses, as well as ones destroyed by fires, were constantly being replaced. Rent was collected by bridge wardens from all buildings situated on the bridge. Shops would typically have houses built atop them to accommodate the people who operated them. In 1381, the drawbridge was raised to prevent Wat Tyler and his rebels from entering London after burning Southwark. Another interesting story of the bridge was in 1389, when a joust took place between Lord Welles and Sir David de Lindsay, a Scotsman. Sir David de Lindsay won, and upon returning to Scotland, he was made ambassador to England. During the 1400s, toll records indicate that nearly 2,000 ships passed under the bridge every year, but that soon began to decline, as it became increasingly unsafe for ships to pass under the bridge. A battle occurred on London Bridge during the Jack Cade Rebellion in 1450, in which civilians were killed, and houses on the bridge were destroyed. Jack Cade was eventually captured and executed, his head later being displayed on the bridge. By 1460, the number of buildings on London Bridge had increased to 138. There was even a large public latrine which released into the river. With this many houses, it is assumed that more than 800 people resided on the bridge. In 1549, St. Thomas of the Bridge Chapel was converted into a dwelling after 340 years of service. Around this time, water wheels were added under the 2 northern arches to power water pumps and the 2 southern arches to power grain mills. The water pumps were often utilized by fire brigades to help put out the many fires that plagued London during this period. The water wheels caused the water level to differ by 6 feet on the other side, mimicking a weir. The adventurous would often try to boat under the bridge, which resulted in many deaths by drowning. In the years following, not many notable events took place on London Bridge, but during this time, the construction of many large buildings took place. In 1577, a palatial 4-story tall manor called the Nonsuch House was constructed on London Bridge at the Southwark end. Previously built in the Netherlands, it was taken apart, shipped to London, and meticulously put back together. It was the first documented prefabricated building, revolutionary in construction at the time. It had onion domes at each corner, with golden weather vanes that could be seen from anywhere in the city. Furthermore, there were 2 sundials on the roof, and the large facade of the building stood as a grand entrance to the bridge. The name Nonsuch means that there is none such anywhere else. No one knows who lived in the Nonsuch house, and it was demolished in 1757 to allow for the widening of the road. The buildings that crowded the bridge constricted the roadway to just 12 feet wide, allowing for single-file traffic in both directions. Pedestrians, carts, and peddlers crossed the bridge simultaneously, and the crossing could take up to an hour. The traffic was becoming an issue of increasing urgency, and many houses on the bridge were demolished during the early 1700s to allow for the road to be widened to 20 feet. Houses and shops were rebuilt overhanging the bridge by up to 7 feet, being supported by wooden trusses, which covered the tops of the arches. But even after the road widening, congestion remained a problem. Something had to be done, and in 1722, Sir Gerard Conyers, the Lord Mayor of London, issued a proclamation. All carts, coaches, and other carriages coming out of Southwark into the city do keep all along the west side of the bridge. All carts and coaches going out of the city do keep along the east side of the bridge. Many cite this as what set the precedent for Britain's left-hand driving rules. From then on, it became clear that medieval London Bridge was becoming obsolete. In 1756, an act was passed allowing for the City of London to purchase all the buildings on the bridge in order to be demolished. The last resident of London Bridge was evicted in 1762. After the buildings were demolished, the road was now about 40 feet wide, which solved the congestion problem. Pedestrian alcoves were added, and the two middle arches were replaced by one large arch to relieve river traffic. But the large arch's construction had diminished the bridge's strength. The public had lost faith in the bridge and began to press for a new bridge to replace it. A design was accepted for a new bridge, and the old bridge continued service until 1831, when New London Bridge opened for public use. The bridge began to be demolished that year, and the demolition was completed in 1832, marking the end of Old London Bridge's 623-year history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Until next time.